He was inside the Fortress of Vatos.
Yeah,
Nice.
Cammy made me stay that night.
Rick, why? I thought you were going home. You seem pretty set on it.
Yeah, and then she had a fit, and then Emily Harrison was like, "All right, you're staying," and I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, "All right, fine, I'll stay."
I was easily convincing.
I was no, no. I put up a good fight. I was just overwhelmed, and like I had nothing left in me. It's just like a fucking yeah.
It happens, yeah. Fucking, I don't know, man. You only can give so much resistance, you know?
Yeah, and then I got drunk off Milwaukee Best.
Oh.
Dude, that stuff is poo poo. Like, okay, it's a crazy deal though, right? 5.9%, and you can get 30 for $11. I mean that'll get you
What?
trapped pretty quick.
What?
But the hangovers are terrible, and I got
Oh, wait! I gotta show you something,
all
guys.
away.
Look what I got. Look what I got recently. Okay, ready for this? All right, Joe, you're gonna love the living room.
I'm excited to see, man.
I can't flip the camera. Oh, nice. I ate some bread. Yeah, but since I got Kabi's couch, I got the
Yeah.
other long one and made it to an L where I'm chilling and doing laundry right now. But there's a mini fridge right in the corner.
Oh my god. That's an absurd amount of Bush Lights and Trulies. Is that what you're all about now? Is Bush Lights and Trulies, man?
It's always been about the Bush Lights, but the Trulies came when I was getting hefty.
They're in as a buffer. You know, it's like
Al's
if you get a little.
bacon sweet. What's his name, Al?
Oh,
Oh, awesome, man.
Oh my god, look at that handsome face. Look at that handsome fella. What a handsome fella. Hi, Haas.
all right. We are in business.
Oh yeah, I can see you, baby.
What are you wearing?
What?
What are you wearing? Oh,
I enjoyed the design, so I said, why not?
I like it.
So is this thing started?
Oh yeah. I had it going a bit ago, but
Okay.
I was just kind of curious how you're doing, Hoss. You know, what have you been up to? I haven't
I'm
seen
doing
you.
pretty good. Uh, I've been pretty busy, and
Did you
I don't
start your
really
job?
know. Yeah, yeah. There is quite a lot of stuff to do for my job. It's nice though because I don't really have set hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it's a project, and then there's like a general deadline, and then okay, get that done, and then yeah, move on to the next thing. So I'm enjoying the flexibility.
Wow. So wait, are you just completely remote then?
Hmm.
Oh wow. Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, it's pretty decent. I
I
don't know.
don't know,
I
man.
might.
Oh,
What?
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
It's just when I was remote for the school and I worked as a GA, like even as a TA, I had tutoring hours and it was like such a fucking scam. Like they're just like they were like, yeah, you can work from your computer. I'm like, awesome, awesome. But like half the time, no, not even half the time, 95% of the time, no one ever joined the Zoom chat. And when someone did, it was like 2 seconds, and then they're like, yeah, can I just email you the problem? And I'm like, yeah, of course, because they like want to have a discussion for 2 seconds. I don't know what it is. I think it's different jobs work that way, but for me, when I did remote, it was like it was the easiest job I ever had. I fucking loved it, man. I could just do
Yeah,
multiple things at once, you know, like you can kind of I have two screens, so I could literally just have the Zoom open and I was just fucking doing homework on the other one.
yeah, that is nice. Yeah, mine is definitely like different than that because
Yeah.
I'm kind of just like doing like marketing stuff, like learning
Mhm.
that, learning design and stuff. Like right now, I'm making some business cards, but Yeah.
So what company did you work for then?
So I am working for Cammy's dad. Okay, I like to say I work for the dads, which is Cammy's dad and it's my dad.
Yeah, yeah.
So both of them I'm like part time for. So
Okay,
I
okay.
do, yeah, I do a little bit of work for both of them throughout the week. So
Alright,
yeah.
well then what do you do for your dad if you're like pretty much a designer of sorts, like a graphic designer for the marketing firm? What do you do for your dad?
So the stuff with my dad pretty much just started. So I'm kind of focusing on like all the early stage stuff. So pretty much planning to develop a website
Alright,
and
nice,
just
nice.
promotional stuff to get them out. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you using one of the services then? Like
Uh,
Squarespace?
WordPress.
WordPress. I've never heard of WordPress, huh? Damn.
WordPress and Squarespace are pretty much like totally
Yeah.
in the market. Yeah. Squarespace is definitely simpler to use than WordPress, but if you get the right plugins and stuff, it makes your life a lot easier.
Oh, for sure, for
If
sure.
not, you have to learn code, and like I have no clue what to do with code. So I'm just like, all right, shortcuts.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like that stuff does the job just as well. A lot
You
of
know-
it's just
Oh
learning,
no, go on, my bad.
like training. Like I'm like kind of training myself with a lot of different stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
alright,
yeah.
what I gotta do. A lot of YouTube, that's for sure.
No, I like it. I like it. Well, that's what blows me away is, God, damn, my words tied. Is that fucking the older generation is so bad with computers that they don't even us going online and finding YouTube videos and searching shit up is like they're like, whoa, computer skills. It's like, no, this is like
Yeah.
basic as fuck. Like everyone does this. You guys are just out of touch. So I don't know. It's kind of fucking hilarious that you doing that. It's like amazing. I love it. But like schools are like, we're the ones who taught you that. It's like, no, we just have been fucking around with our phones for years.
Nothing. I have applied nothing that I've learned from Illinois State towards what I actually have to do because like with all these like stupid general things, it's like, oh well, you gotta learn about like this concept of like blah blah blah, and I guess I can apply the concepts very broadly, but it's nothing that I can't already like think like in my head. Like maybe they'll teach me like a special term or something like, oh like there's this, but pretty much everything I'm doing not related to schoolwork at all. Which, by the way, the school was total freaks to me. They kind of screwed me, but like kind of not.
What happened?
So I signed up for my summer classes in February, and it was just 6 credits, right? So I'm going to just like check my grades, right? Just to like see like exactly what I got for my classes. Like I knew I'll pass everything, but I didn't really like look at like what specific grades I got until recently. And I looked and I wasn't signed up for anything in the summer, and I was like, freaking out because I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like they took me off everything. I specifically like remember like that I signed up for classes and I knew the dates and I knew everything, and yeah, I called them and they're like, oh no, you never signed up for classes. And then I'm like, oh okay, and then I look and I have a hold on my account for a past due balance. So I call them, I'm like, all right, what's this balance, all that? Like, oh yeah, $1,900 is past due that you have to pay before you can sign up for classes. And I was like, oh, come on. And they're like, how much can you pay now? I just said 500 because I was like, okay, well, like, they're gonna force me to pay for something. Because they've done this before with me, where they're like, oh yeah, you have a balance and stuff. And it might, like, that balance might be for just, like, my prescriptions and stuff. Or, like, doctor's visits, because I do get my stuff through ICU. Well,
Yeah.
I said 500 and they're like, how about 800? And I was like, all right, well, I don't really have any wiggle room for this. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do the 800. So I turn in the 800, right? And it turns out now, so I have two classes that aren't till like July that I can take. But then there's these modules which they were open later in the summer before, but now the only time was it started on last Friday. And I didn't pay student accounts till last Thursday. And I
Yeah.
didn't find out about this until last Wednesday. So like it all happened very quickly. I pay it, they're like, oh yeah, the hole's gone. Still can't sign up for classes. So I emailed them and I was like, what the hell? And there's one class that only has two spots left. So I swear to God, if they like fuck them and I have to stay another semester to take like one
Mhm.
like in-person class.
Well, it's online, right? They're both online.
Yeah, but if that summer one fills up and they say I'm out of luck, I'm gonna have to take it next semester. Like, what choice do I really have?
I think,
You know?
I don't know. I think with the online classes, they don't really have to worry too much. They'll just have to push you through because you can always talk to your advisor. And they'll give you like the exemption pass. So I don't think you should worry there. My main worry is that they might actually, once you finish these classes, they might be like, well, you want your diploma, you still need to pay us that other 1100 or 1600 or whatever. So I don't know if they're like wiping that debt. That's what I'm fucking curious about. Or if they're gonna fucking try and blast you once you finish these classes for that extra money. I don't know, man. It's a fucking. They don't give a fuck. If you email the teacher that sets up the module, she was pretty nice about letting people do it over, and you told her your situation. Like, I just remember getting announcement after announcement from her. I finished, like, when I took the classes during the regular semester, so obviously I had the whole semester to do it. I did it, like, probably like a month in or something. They don't take long, like a day or so. But,
Business 285.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And she extended it all the way till the end of the semester because people just didn't do it. Like I remember announcement after announcement. She's like, do it, do it, do it, do it, guys! I extended it to the end semester. Do it, do it, do it. So it was like, I think when she hears your situation, of course she'll probably give you like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the thing is, I'm not worried about professors because professors, if you talk to them and give them your situation, they pretty much always care. They're like, okay, well, like, we'll work with you. It's the actual school and it's like the different departments that you like call on the phone that are like, oh yeah, I talked to another person and they'll be able to figure it out. And then you talk to the other person and they're like, oh yeah, we can't do anything. And it's like, thanks. Like those are the people that'll screw you.
Yeah, the bureaucracy of it all.
Yeah, it's those people that like aren't the professors that like aren't dedicated to this that are probably making like $11 an hour to just deal with people all day and just like answer calls that are like, all right, well, like fucking whatever, it's my job. Like why would I care about this one person that much? But yeah, I emailed them and I was like, all right, like could you guys just do it for me? Like sign me up, and I gave them like the course number and the credits and stuff. So hopefully they just add me to this stuff because there's no option. Like if I go on, there's nothing that I click that like takes me to a spot to enroll. All I can do is view the details.
Well, that's fucked. Yeah, I hope it works out for you, man.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you. But yeah,
Damn. Well, yeah,
it's the school drama.
yeah, that was a bit fascinating. Well, yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for you guys, taking the time out to come. It's always a fun seeing you guys. Well, actually being able to see your faces too. I didn't expect to see Al's tomato face, but it's fucking awesome nonetheless. I don't know, it just brings me some joy, Anyway, I kind of wanted to, I have a few things set up for the podcast today, but I wanted to start by telling you guys a little bit of drama in my life. I don't know if you saw my Snap story like about a week ago, but I took this video of someone like doing dances and like Instagram setups, and I was just like, this is the best humanity or evolution can give us. It's kind of sad. And just a little background. I don't know if you guys have been to my new apartment or you've seen really any photos from it, but it's like it overlooks this entire area of the arch. And right below it's this parking garage where I think people, they go up there for secluded photos. They don't feel weird doing these weird poses in front of the arch and shit. And, I just fucking see it all the time, every day, literally. If there's one or two people there, you'll see sometimes groups, people, it's a good, nice pic, but it's kind of hilarious how much time people spend up there. And really, I'm sorry to get off track, but I posted the Snapchat story. Someone blasted me about it. This woman, she's like, well, why do you care? She's just enjoying herself. And yeah, fair enough. She is just enjoying herself. But I still think it's kind of sad because, these people have one of the most powerful devices in their phone. That was, the actual minerals that are mined from the ground it was probably done by slaves. I'm not going to fucking outright say that because I don't know for sure. I'm just some dumbass. But, it's probably mined up by someone in not the best conditions. And then on top of that, it's manufactured by someone that are in factories that you can't leave or escape or even jump out the windows. And what do we use it for? To fucking take videos of us dancing for TikTok, or for me to beat my dick off for the third time that day. It's a bit fucking, I don't know, it's a bit fried. It's a bit fucked up that we actually just, this is all we do. I'm kind of sickened by myself right after. I'm like, god damn, this is what I use my phone for. But I don't know, she really blasts me. She's like, that's such a terrible view, that's something, I can't believe you would do that. And I'm like, hey man, it's the, oh my god, give me 1 second. What? Oh, okay. Whoops. Anyway, sorry, my dad was talking to me. Anyway, fuck, I got so distracted there. But, it's just this aspect of how people can act. Like, we're all pretty entitled in this country. It kind of just pisses me off to a certain extent, because I'm the same way, and I don't know, I just wanted to show you guys a little example. Let me share my screen here. I wanted to kind of give you guys two clips here I think you guys will enjoy, so you'll just be able to click on it, I think, and here, I'll just play this for you. You should be able to hear the audio, too. Tell me if you can't.
Very little food has left the kitchen.
Where's our food? Waiting. 45 minutes to an hour for our food.
Shaking. I'm getting mad. I'm getting real mad.
Calm down. It's gonna be okay.
Nice
Okay,
bag,
so,
by the way.
these people are getting mad. Their food's coming out late. It's pretty tragic, really. It's you'll come here home and you'll listen to your dad tell you about the terrible service. It's a story in our country, and people, sit down, and they enjoy it and they listen to it. And yeah, I just, I want to show you one more clip of this same guy later on here.
Come on, big boy. Sick of it. We're going down quicker than the Titanic.
Yeah, I'm a street light choking on the heat. The world spins around while I'm posing to my seat.
They get better service at a shelter than they do here.
So, these guys are having a terrible night. They're truly, homeless people have a better time at their shelters than we are here, and this food is absolutely atrocious. Fair enough, it's a comment, and you're entitled to your opinion. Now, I want to show you guys another clip from some mine dismantlers in Yemen, and maybe you'll, this guy can learn a bit about perspectives, and we all can remember it, but I'm not trying to fucking make a big thing of this, but I was just watching Kitchen Nightmares. It's my guilty pleasure. I'm a fat fuck, and I love to just see people crumble. And yeah, listening to people complain about food being late is kind of infuriating. It's like one of the most simple things. Like, it's like, dude, you can go out and order food. Who the fuck cares? But it's whatever. Let's just listen to this clip.
As the Houthis retreated up the Red Sea coast, they laid thousands of landmines, which now pose a huge threat to civilians and have to be slowly dug up by demining teams.
هذا الغام دفاع على الحوثي يكون دفاع على الحوثي هذا.
This was a pressure plate landmine, so as soon as weight comes on top, it sets it off.
يعني إذا ضغطت تقول إلا معدة ثقيلة. أي معدة سيارة ثقيلة يضغط عليها. لا حتى ولو يعني رفست بوقوع يعني ذا ممكن بينفجر.
On average, how many are you finding every day?
يعني معدل 10 أرقام 20 لغم خرجنا 23 لغم في اليوم. يعني لا زال إنه مكتف الألغام لا زال بيخطن والحديدة لحد الآن.
And these will stay active for months after the battle is over?
30 years.
And I know it's just a guess, but do you have any idea how many of these you think have been laid here?
ما أقدر نحدد الرقم، بس كله الآن موجود معنا كميات كبيرة خرجناها في قبل النار. أعتقد إنه النص اللي خرجناه ونص عاد متبقي يعني لحد الآن.
How many is half? How many have you got so far?
4 كل 4000.
So I think your colleagues found another one.
لغم.
قعوا يا اخوان قعوا اللي هذا خلوا
So this perfect line in the dirt is where they walked to find the first landmine. And someone behind them has just found another one, a foot, 2 feet away from the exact route they walked out on. And even though they had 2 guys with metal detectors, they somehow missed this one and could have easily stepped on it. And look, he's just walking back on another path. So this village here was apparently empty during the war, but the villagers have started coming back and telling them where they think landmines are, but these 3 kids are just walking anywhere across what they say is still a minefield.
هنا في البلاد هذه ضبحانا وخايف من الألغام نمشي بهذا الخط بس رايح واقف يعني ما نروح كذا ولا نروح كذا ثاني لبيت ونرجع في هذا الخط.
Have any members of your family or anybody you know been hurt or killed by a landmine so far?
ايوه امس واحد توفى قطعنا رجله من هنا ويده من هنا من الألغام على سيكل دراجة نارية.
والثاني محشمر كله عادوا.
والثاني عادوا يعني ما يسمع انفجر باللغم ولا عاد وصل عند قبره. ردوا عملوا عزة ردوا يبكوا علي.
ايوه تقطعوا من هنا قطع وراحوا سافروا المخا حوالي شوية ومات ابن عمي.
For the kids, what?
So it's just this guy. Essentially, let me give you a little bit of a background. The Houthis and the Tutsis, these 2 ethnic groups in Yemen are fighting each other. One's backed by Russia essentially through arms deals, and the same goes for the Tutsis, I believe, are backed by the Saudi Arabians, and then vice versa, the Saudi Arabians are backed by us. So it's a bit of a power struggle in this region, and they planted a bunch of mines as they were retreating, these Houthis. And essentially now people have to follow these very specific paths, and if they go off by a foot, sometimes they'll fucking hit a mine, which is crazy. And this guy's describing his cousin's death. He's not even shaking about it, not even losing any emotion. He's just telling it straight because that's how death is over there. It's common, especially in a battle-torn region. And while they're doing this guy over here is fucking Kitchen Nightmares. I can't help it. I just start laughing. This is why I love this fucking show.
I'm dying for those Alfredos.
Very little food has left the kitchen.
Where's our food?
Waiting.
45 minutes to an hour for our food.
Shaking. I'm getting mad.
I'm getting mad. I'm getting real mad. We're fucking babies here. We're so privileged. I'm not going to get into white, black, Latino, all that type of privilege. Just Americans. We have no fucking clue how terrible it can be out there. And I'm not trying to blast you guys. I'm not trying to blast anyone. I just got pissed off when this woman fucking hit me up and she's like, well, that's so, why are you blasting that? Let's all enjoy ourselves. We're only human. Like, evolution failed us. Let's be real. We just give into our impulse desires. I don't think most people are above that. I think that's fair to say. I think we're just monkeys, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's what our DNA encoded in us. We can try our best, but no one's perfect. No one has to be. But I don't know. It's just, how can you not take Americans? You can't take them seriously. I can't even take myself seriously because we're all fucking retards. We're all little baby idiots. Anyway, I'm sorry that was a little bit of a rant, but I was getting heated when that woman came at me. I was like, hey, man, we're all just trying to make the best of it. Anyway, that was my little drama of the week, guys. Oh, man. But, yep, pretty much that's all I wanted to fucking share about that. I do have a little thing for the podcast, though, today that I'll
I have
pull up.
something to share real quick. All right?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
So
Fucking,
there's
let me bring down my
430
screen.
billion birds, right? 430, all right? What is there? 7 billion people?
There's, about 7 billion people.
7. So that means if every bird attacked one human, right? It would be one person versus about 61 birds. If they were smarter, they could fuck us. Think about that.
Yeah, you're right. If they were organized like bees.
And then they take out the weak ones first, and then they attack the stronger ones with bigger numbers. Who knows? They might go up to eventually 100 birds a person. Like, they could do some shit, man.
100 birds a person. I mean, I guess it depends on the size of the bird,
Alright, but 61 of assorted sizes.
60.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I'm just thinking I would love to see a group of a species that would turn out kind of bee oriented, where they're all hive, they all kind of work together as one. Would it be whales? I'd love to see a pod of 500 whales just dominating the ocean.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy, man. If you come across their pod, you're either you're chilling or they're fucking roaring and jumping all around you.
We just have to avoid the ocean. Alright, something that I totally should have brought up earlier. I saw Starlink satellites in the sky last night. I saw about 100 of them.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, I was with my family and Cammy, and we were just chilling in the backyard, right? Back patio.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm looking at this Sky Guide app. I'm like, wow, look at these constellations, right? And then you see, it was 3 dots in the sky. I was like, isn't that weird? Don't you see those 3 dots? Look how fast they're moving. And then after that, it'd be 3 more. And it would be following, it's in a perfect straight line, in an arc across the sky. And then we kind of started freaking out. I thought aliens. I actually thought aliens because I was like, what the fuck is this? Because probably 100 something of them passed. And it was all in a straight line. Yeah. And I don't know, everybody else kind of thought it was missiles. We were going on our phones, looking on the news and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart was racing because I was like, oh my God, is this the end of time? And then, yeah, the neighbors were like, oh, Starlink. I was like, oh. But it was crazy. I felt some fight or flight type prepping for the end.
Yeah.
It was pumping through me. I was like, this has to be fucked. It just didn't seem like humans could do it. And then it was like, whoa. Probably one of the coolest things I've seen.
So were you using a telescope? Is that how you saw them, or just your naked eye?
Naked eye. They were super visible. They were brighter than all of the stars.
Oh wow, okay.
They were these just big lights in the sky. They seemed like they were in probably groups of 3, so 3, and then you wouldn't be able to see them at a certain distance, and then 3 would just like come out of the darkness again, and it just kept going. And it was like 12, it was like 20, then it was like 50, and it was like 100, and they would just kind of appear, and they would just arc right over us.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of, this doesn't really have anything to do with satellites, but it reminds me, since you guys were looking up and spying those satellites, it reminded me of the telescope my dad has in our apartment here in downtown. And he has binoculars too, and him and his girlfriend will literally, like, go out the window and just stare at people's, like, windows and shit. Like, other people's rooms. That's why they got I mean, this telescope is nice. I can literally peek all the way across, and I see some dude sitting on his balcony, like, fucking watering his plants, and I'm like, hey, good job, dude. Like, yeah, and so Shenard and Billy were over the other day, and, you know, small town rubes, they see the apartment downtown, they're like, so many people! And they're, like, looking around everywhere. I'm like, oh, yeah? Well, and I give them the binoculars, and then I bring out the telescope, and they're, like, peeping hard, and there's a rooftop bar across from us, a few floors up, and I mean, they were really peeping on those people for a minute, and then people started pointing us out from the top of the bar, because fucking Shenard and Billy was right up against the glass with the binoculars, and Shenard had the telescope right there too, and I was just fucking, I was literally just making lunch. I was just making the food. I'm like, here, you guys, entertain yourselves. And we had to pull back the telescope, and I was like, okay, get away from the windows. We gotta make sure they don't. Because I remember the last thing that we spied was an employee pointing down at us as a customer was talking to them. And we're like, something went down, something went down.
So the customer got mad because they're like, there's people peeking on us.
Just watching us from their window, dude. I mean, it's not like you can do anything, bro. You're out in a public space. Someone can have binoculars and look out their window. But at the same time, it was a bit fried, so I was like, yeah, just get away from the window. Let's not cause anything here. Let's not do anything. But no, I mean, the whole common area is all windows. So Shenard made a fair point. He's like, dude, they can see in here. I was like, yeah, fair enough. I was like, they can see in here.
Maul their business by just staring at customers all the time. And then that restaurant is known as the restaurant where weird people stare at you.
Oh man, that'd be fried. Maybe. Well, I'm worried the amount of times I've been on my balcony now when I just watch people take photos of the arch. Because it's just, I mean, it's so entertaining. Like, they don't even realize you're there, so they're like fucking doing these wild poses with their friend who's like, yeah, do it! And sometimes they'll actually have music on in the background just to hype them up. Or just for like one of the Instagram videos they'll do where they're like,
that close, you can hear music?
Oh yeah, it's right there. I mean, like, the fucking garage park is right across the block from me.
Oh.
Like 3 lanes of traffic. I'm looking out at them. Because, I mean, some of them will have some bougie speakers, like, fucking set up where it's, like, just absolutely blasting. But you're like, dude, that like, I mean, literally the bass is just destroyed. Where it's like, the sound quality is just warped, I guess is the best way to put it. Where they've just destroyed their speaker, but they still use it. I'm like, oh my god. I mean, some guy fucking drums, like, every weekend at the corner, and he just goes fucking hard, man. I mean, it's like 3 hours. Reminds me of Colin a bit. So, you know, it's a nice, I get kind of relaxed to it. But yeah, you know, there's some wild people in my fucking area, for sure. Definitely some odd ones. But yeah, I fucking, here, let me share my screen again. I do have a little presentation, just like last time with the, you know, the weed and the Long John Silver's little conspiracy there. So let me share my screen, and hopefully you guys can see this, and we'll get started here.
I'm gonna have to go at like probably like 3-ish. It's my mom's birthday today, so.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see how far we can get, and, you know, we can record the rest of it later another time if it works out. So we'll stop around 3 then, for sure. Okay, well, the first thing I wanted to show you was a little clip describing like where we're gonna be starting here, and essentially, actually, I'll give a little preface to the clip. I kind of want to talk about a man today, a man named Percy Fawcett, and he was this British man who was born in the time of the empires in the late 1800s. He served in the Royal Artillery, and he was an explorer of inland South America later in his life. And I kind of wanted to talk about him today, but I figured at the same time I want to, show a little bit history of South America, where it came from, and why people like him believed it held great wealth and ancient civilizations. So we'll start with this little clip describing one of the first civilizations in South America, Caral Supe.
The earliest civilization in the Americas, sacred city of Caral Supe. The ancient settlement of Caral is in Peru, South America. It's here that the remains of the oldest known civilization in South America have been found. 6 pyramidal structures can still be seen in an area covering over 600 hectares, which more than 4,500 years ago was a thriving community.
So just for reference, 4,500 years ago was around the time theorized for the building of the Great Pyramids of Giza. So imagine, the Great Pyramids of Giza, that whole early empire of Egypt. This was kind of thriving at the exact same time. Around that time as well, a little bit more, they're theorized 3000 BC to 2000 BC is around the time this civilization thrives. So it could be even a little bit older than some of the pyramids, but it's an ancient civilization, so I'll let it play a little bit longer.
This is Piramide Mayor, the largest pyramid on the site. The stones used to make the walls are cut evenly. The largest stone used in this pyramid weighs over 500 kilograms.
So, we have to consider right here as well that they were able to cut these stones with some sort of tool, and that they could haul a rock that I looked up, 500 kilograms is about 1,100 pounds. So, these pyramids aren't anything to, just write home about. They were rather impressive in their heyday.
The pyramid is 20 meters high. A small room built on top is believed to have been used for religious ceremonies. Some items found on the site support this theory.
Oh, God.
A clay figurine with long hair, colourful costume and necklaces bears the same characteristics as a shaman from that period. It was believed that they were able to communicate with gods. Some interesting and unique building techniques were used in the pyramid structure located in a seismic area. Inside the walls, string is woven between the stones. Stones were placed inside nets made of plant fibre before being placed on top of each other. It's believed that such nets acted as shock absorbers during earthquakes. It suggests that these people had already developed anti-seismic building methods.
So I think it's a bit crazy that they were able to, trial and error, able to figure out how woven string could help, protect against earthquakes. I just thought that was a little interesting to point out.
There's an interesting geoglyph in the corner of the site. A human face in profile with stones on the ground.
That's right. I mean, I wonder how they coordinated that. Was someone just up there, they're like, one stone, like, did they use smoke patterns to tell each other where to move the stones to set it up? I've always wondered that. I thought it was a bit, how much work did go into making that face just to fucking have it there, just so when the mountaintop or, that they think the gods are looking down, they can see that face. I don't know, man. I just thought that was a bit fried that they'd actually spend time doing that.
The civilization which grew...
Tears.
What was that?
Blood, sweat, and tears. That's how it was made.
Imagine this blistering heat, too, dude. The place looks pretty dusty,
Yeah.
Here could have laid the roots for the Nazca and Inca civilizations. Within this ancient circle, various items have been uncovered. For example, a number of flutes made of pelican and condor bones.
Music.
Oh my
No
God,
weapons
the
have been
face.
found as yet on the site, so archaeologists and anthropologists are asking whether this was a community that made music rather than war.
Okay, but that's the Super Garo, you know, little the little thing here. Their civilization. If you're wondering, it was around for about 1,000 years. That's what they suspected, or at least this kind of a peak pyramid era. You know, where they were building grand structures. And believe it or not, these structures were just unknown to modern archaeology until about the 1930s. No one had touched them since the civilization crumbled. Like, no one had actually even gone by, so it was just untouched. That face you saw, no one had just bothered to move any stones. That's why it was still there. So, you know, what happened to these people? You know, what caused them to go away? And, well, there's some ideas, but really they think the climate shifted a little bit in trading routes as well, which is, you know, part of the answer to this first question is, how did they feed that population? I'm just kind of curious. You know, these guys were about 20 kilometers from the ocean, so and you guys have, you know, fishing. You know, you saw how dusty it was. It's nothing like Illinois. They ain't got that black nutriated soil. They just had this dusty nonsense there. So
Mud pies.
Yes,
They all
exactly.
died in malnutrition. That place looks like a Star Wars planet. It looks like, how could that place even prosper? That doesn't make sense.
Well, they traded a lot. That's what they suspect happened, is they were about 20 kilometers from the ocean, that they either had villages there, and that this was more of a religious site, or that this was a full town, you know, full-blown village. I mean, it's estimated that 3,000 people lived in those pyramids, like that surrounding area right there. And then on top of that, they found, you know, entire complexes of 19 other villages outside of it, some of them close to the ocean. But no evidence of, you know, cereal agriculture. They had no plant material picked up, no pottery that really held like the you know, the seeds for that. So it's a bit odd, you know. They suspect that they traded, and that's a bit advanced. When you don't hear about, you hear about some of the Mayan pyramids, but those are always later on. And at the same time, you know, I don't know. I've never heard much about the Mayan pyramids, but it's a bit fascinating. You kind of see that. For some reason, in the Egyptian climate, their pyramids have been able to survive much longer, and they haven't really deteriorated as much. Maybe some people would push back on that, but at the same time, you can see here that these pyramids have really decayed. The weather has really rocked them down. They look, you know, from afar, just like a rubble of rocks, not really anything crazy. And yeah, I'm gonna move on unless you guys have any fucking questions or comments about Karlsruhe.
No, I'm ready for the next thing.
Oh, nice. Well, let me give you guys a little background of some of the, you know, empires that were here before the pre-Columbian Age. Imagine 1491. So you can see the Olmecs, the Zapotecs, the Aztecs. These were the Triple Alliance, the three nations that really worked together in southern Mexico. They were really the powerhouses. At the same time, you know, the Maya, the classic, they held the Yucatan Peninsula all the way down through, I believe, just about Guatemala as well. There's some Mayan influence there, so, you know, you can kind of see them. Then down here, the blue ones, you know, Incas, the Mochia, the black, I mean, the what is that, brown, or I guess orange even. The purple is the Corral. You know, this is, and, you know, there's still a little bit of remnants of them in 1491, but it wasn't the ones who built the pyramid. This is just pretty much the name we have for them after, because they were the direct descendants of the Supe Corral civilization. And then the Amazonia, as you can imagine, is most of the Amazon jungle, and the Guarani are kind of another jungle area as well, but they're more near some mountain highlands, essentially, where it's very flat? Yeah, flat as well. But yeah, that's a little bit of a background. Then when we're looking at the Amazon specifically, there's 2,000 tribes, 200 today, you know, the decrease about 90%. There's, well, the low estimate is about nearly 4 million in the Amazon alone. I've read about 20 million is the high estimate, so that's still a fat amount of people that were located in the Amazon. There's now 67 known uncontacted tribes in Brazil today, which is, how do they exist? They kind of just thrive in this just abysmal environment. I could never imagine surviving there. Even their feet grow differently than ours because of just how they climb trees, how often they go up these muddy slopes. Now, they're still human, I'm not denying that at all. They're not savages by any means, don't get me wrong, but their feet are way more clomped, way more developed, way more strong than ours ever are, because we're pudgy, we don't really walk that much, and we have these nice flat plains of concrete that we use instead of muddy slopes. So it's a bit interesting to think how they exist. Now, before we go any further, we'll probably stop here today, but I want to just say let's meet the Pizarros. Maybe you guys have heard of him, Francisco Pizarro, right here. He's the man who toppled the Inca Empire, and believe it or not, he was cousins with Hernan Cortez, the man who toppled the Aztec Empire. Two of the powerhouses in Central and South America. Inca, most definitely the largest empire of its age. The strongest, the wealthiest, everything in the South America. Aztec, they were definitely the strongest, but they did have, enemies as well, which made it easier to take them down, but still wealthy and powerful. And one family was able to send out 6 men that organized an entire force of, a few hundred men, some cannons, some armor, some ammo, and sail across the ocean and take over almost a continent worth of land and resources. And so here are the Pizarros. Here is this wondrous family. And first we have to look at Gonzalo Pizarro here, who was just a captain in the Spanish military at the time. No, a colonel, my bad. And he had bastard boys, all 4 of them bastard boys, never married to a single woman. They were raised in poor Spanish households, and they truly never did anything, too crazy in life before this. They just enlisted in the military, learned some of the trade, and eventually Francisco was able to get the ability, after he heard of Columbus, he was able to get some funding from the Spanish crown, took his brothers and his 2 cousins with, well, not Hernan. Hernan went in with his own fleet, but took his cousin Francisco de Aureliano with him, and they toppled empire. I mean, I don't know, it just kind of blows me away that this is the underdog story. 4 homeless, bastard, poor farmer boys from the Spanish Empire go on to become the richest men in the world overnight by toppling an empire. And then their cousin Hernan does the same thing a week later. I mean, not actually, but you guys get, being a little facetious, but it's astounding. He literally became a trillionaire. This man is richer than any other billionaire we've ever known in existence, and all he did was fucking go over there and pull some nice political moves, just really use game theory for his advantage, and really fucking, I don't know, I'm not an expert on it, but it's just fucking crazy that the Pizarros, this one family, did so much. And well, we'll be back with the Pizarros on another podcast, but I just want to give you a little insight into their family here, that 4 brothers and 2 cousins really did that much to impact the world. They really changed it that much. A whole continent speaks Spanish because of this family.
Yeah, that is insane.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll end on this little bit for next week. I'll give you guys a little teaser. So this man right here, Gonzalo Pizarro, after they take over the Inca Empire, he's granted the governorship of Quito. And while he works in Quito, well, they need to explore more. The Spanish Empire is sending more fleets over now to protect their new territories, sending men over. and these governors, these Pizarros are being told, you need to explore more. We need more information as much as possible. Get out there, explore. Yeah, you guys toppled all these empires. Fantastic. I love all the gold, but we need to expand if we're gonna fucking reign over all this. And yeah, fair enough, you know. And when you get a lot of gold, you start looking for more. And so Gonzalo Pizarro, him and Francisco de Aureliano go down the River Napo, which flows into the Amazon River, in search of El Valle de la Canela. And I'm sure I butchered that, but it's the Valley of Cinnamon. And why cinnamon? Well, spice was valuable at that time. Imagine how bland food was, and then on top of that, imagine you have a rotting corpse. You can't preserve it. You can't have it for a few weeks to have all the family. It's the next few days, baby. So you throw them on your dinner table or just some grand table, and you throw spice on them every day to make sure they don't smell bad. And you burn it as well as an incense to make sure the room doesn't start to stink up, because the body's decomposing. So it was used for all types of things, because life smelled so much worse than it does now. I mean, animals everywhere, mud everywhere, fertilizer all over the place because everyone was farming. You had shit in your fingernails probably because you never washed your hands. You know, you're using fertilizer. And this isn't factory produced fertilizer, it's like just pig shit mixed in with some fucking dirt. So you have to imagine that, you know, these spices were valuable and the rich wanted them. They wanted their food to be tasty. So we'll end there, but next week these guys go down the River Napo, Aureliano and Gonzalo, and they're going to search for cinnamon and gold. And we'll find out what they actually find. And we'll find out what they report about what they see in the Amazon. And it might surprise you guys a little bit. And we'll end it there.